Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hockey Talk. Today, we're talking playoffs. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the eighth and final playoff preview. This is Washington versus Florida. So if you missed one of the other ones, you can go and watch them. The top corner right over there. I have the link to the playlist there. Every other playoff series is done. This is the last one. It's been a long ride. But once this is over, we can just sit back and enjoy some hockey. So without further ado, let's talk Caps and Capitals, or Capitals and Panthers. My apologies. Which could be an interesting series. I think this is one series that a lot of people don't expect to go very long. But let's take a look at the numbers and come to a conclusion ourselves, shall we? And looking at by the numbers, well, a couple of things become very clear. First of all, both teams gave up the same amount of goals per game. And that's about where the similarities kind of deviate from each other. Florida had a very prolific offense this year. They led the league in goals They scored over 4 goals a game. That led the league by a very wide margin. I think by almost about half a goal per game. They were very good pretty much all year long. How about this, though? Washington's power play, only 18.73%. I can't remember the last time that Washington's power play was not just ridiculously dangerous. I mean, even this year, Ovechkin scored 50 goals. You would almost expect that Washington power play to be amongst the league leaders, but it was rather pedestrian this year. So a little surprising. I think if the Capitals are going to be successful in this series, they're going to need that power play to be well above 18%. And both teams don't have a spectacular penalty kill by any stretch, both around 80%. So I think the opportunity for Washington is there if they want it to kind of take advantage of a below average or average penalty kill in Florida. So the question is going to be really with these two teams, can Washington slow down Florida, who is just scoring at a rampant pace? And can Florida's offense transition to the playoffs where things usually do get a little tighter and it is a lot harder to kind of sustain the success that they had in the regular season? If the answer to any of those questions for Florida is can they keep going is yes, Washington is in a lot of trouble. If Washington can find a way to keep that number low while also keeping their goals for per game, which at 3.33 is more than respectable, this could be an interesting series. It's really going to come down to how Washington plays, especially I think if they can win the fourth line matchups, they'll be in a decent shape. They cannot get beaten. And they have to take advantage of some of the weak points of Florida because, believe it or not, this Florida team is not perfect all across the board. And with that, we'll look at the goaltending. So, looking at the goaltending here, it was a pretty good bounce back for Bobrovsky. If Florida's offense is great, which we kind of expect it to be, he won't have to be perfect. He just needs to play well. He doesn't have to play amazing. He was 39-7-3 this year, which is incredible, especially when you consider his numbers 267 goals against average, a 913 save percentage, a 9.07 goal saved above expected on 3 shutouts, which is good, but it's certainly not elite by any stretch. And Vanacek is who the Capitals are going with over Samsonov, which is a little interesting. I'm not saying it's surprising or the wrong move by any stretch, but Vanacek has basically no playoff experience. He got hurt in last year's playoffs. I think he started game 1 actually and got hurt and then didn't play again. So this is technically the second year in a row that they've chosen to go with Vanacek over Samsonov. But not a ton of experience for Vanacek, so it's going to be interesting to kind of see how that matchup goes. I would say it's a safe assumption to say that goaltending is not really a strength for either team, but I think in Washington's case, they're going to need their goaltender to probably outplay Florida's, because I would expect that Vanacek's job is going to be a little bit harder than that of um, Bobrovsky, just based off of the way the regular season kind of went. Um, so I think it's going to be really interesting. I think if it's in the interest of the Capitals to try their very best to make Vanacek's life easy. Um, and if they can do that, they've got a chance. If Vanacek has to stop 40 shots a game, and the Panthers offense looks just as good as it did in the regular season, I got to be honest, I don't particularly like Washington's chances. But with that, let's look at the kind of breakdown of the team's leading scorers and kind of further expand on that. And looking at the scoring here, I mean, what can you say about Florida that hasn't kind of already been said? They've got tremendous depth to go along with their elite top guys. I mean, Huberdeau, 115 points this year, 39 goals, led the way with Barkov, 85 assists, an NHL record for left wingers by Huberdeau. Mason Marchment was around a point per game on that third line, led the team in 5v5 expected goals for percentage, which again basically just means when he's on the ice, the majority of the scoring chances, the majority of the shots, the majority of the goals really are kind of in his favor. And I mean, the scariest part is the Panthers were playing without Aaron Ekblad for a large portion of the back end of this season, and he's expected to be back sometime soon as well. So I mean, they had 10 guys with 40 points this season. In comparison, Washington, who is no bad team offensively by any stretch, they only had 5 guys with 40 points. But Ovechkin had a fantastic season, 50 goals yet again. He's been great. He's been great in the postseason too. The Capitals haven't won a playoff series since they won the Stanley Cup. So you would think that perhaps much like Sidney Crosby struggled in the playoffs, Ovi has. Not really. He's got 18 points in the 20 playoff games he's played since they won the Cup. It's really the rest of the team that kind of needs to stay to be better. They need more from their supporting cast, because if they don't, this series is just not going to last very long. The Capitals are a good team. I mean, they had over 100 points. The fact of the matter is, 100 points was still just not good enough to be any better than the 8th best team in the East this year, and the reward for being the 8th best team is to play the Panthers, who were the best team in the league, scored more goals than anybody, and just look absolutely unbeatable at times. I mean, this is going to be an interesting series just because the Capitals could be up 6-1 midway through the game, midway through the second period of Game 1. And I still would think that the Panthers have a decent chance to come back because of how easy they make goal scoring look. So there are a couple question marks. Can Bobrovsky find his Columbus form? If he plays poorly, I think the door is open for the Capitals. And I think obviously the Capitals still can score goals. They're no slouches, but their competition can do it better. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that in the prediction, and we'll kind of make our claim there. And so with my prediction, to the surprise of probably nobody, I'm picking the Panthers rather to win, and I'm going to give the Capitals a game, but I think this goes 5 games and is over. I do kind of wonder if the prolific scoring that we saw the Panthers have throughout the season can be sustained going into the playoffs, where the game is much tighter. There's probably less power play opportunities, just a lot of different things that become much harder for the Panthers to be able to do what they did in the regular season. But I don't think the team that's going to do that is the Capitals, and I don't think that the first round is the place we really see that tight, sort of style of play really take a hold on the Panthers scoring. And I think, quite frankly, I don't think Vanacek is the goaltender to shut down the Panthers. And I could be wrong about that. Of course, the beautiful thing about hockey is anything can happen. but it just seems like it's such a hard thing to predict. There are questions about the Panthers' ability to keep the puck out of their own net at times, but I do think that like guys like Ben Sherratt, who they acquired at the trade deadline, this is where they're going to shine. You know, playoff hockey is kind of a place where guys like Ben Sherratt make their money, and he could be an X factor for the Panthers, not offensively but defensively. He could really kind of shore some things up. So I'm going Panthers in 5. I think the Capitals are a good team, but I just think that they're kind of getting unlucky with who they're playing. Unlucky not in terms of the playoff format, which we've talked about on this channel, but just because they just couldn't, catch other teams. Also worth mentioning that the Capitals are 24-20-5 since the trade deadline with a negative, or sorry, in the new year with a negative goal differential. So, they're not exactly playing fantastic hockey by any stretch in their last 40 or so games. So it's really hard to think that they're going to turn it around here. So I'm going to go Panthers in 5. And let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think that Ovi's going to have a great series and give the Capitals a chance? Do you think Vanacek is going to stand on his head? What do you think is going to happen? Who do you want to see win? I asked in the last video who your Cup champs are, who your Conn Smythe Trophy winners are. Do that again. Let me know who you think is going to win in the comments down below. Again, you can check out the rest of these playoff previews if you haven't already seen them. The link to the description is down below. And with that, have a great day. Enjoy the playoffs. And I will see you guys in my next video, whenever that may be. Possibly round 2. So have a good day. Enjoy the playoffs. Cheers, guys.